What if I told you that the royal family just revealed one of their most shocking secrets? In a surprising twist, Kate, the Princess of Wales, exposed Lilibet Diana's real name in a post that has left Prince Harry and Meghan Markle utterly betrayed. You won't believe the bombshell details behind this revelation and the scandal it's causing inside the royal family. Stay tuned, because what happens next could change everything you thought you knew about the Sussexes and the monarchy. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. In a world where secrets often lurk behind palace walls, where royal whispers and scandals are neatly wrapped in layers of discretion, an explosive revelation has suddenly shattered the quiet facade. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, has just shocked the public by unveiling the hidden truth about Lilibet Diana's real name, a truth that has sent waves through both the royal family and the global public. The stunning revelation that Lilibet Diana's actual name is Sophia Taylor has raised eyebrows, sparked debates, and, most notably, betrayed Meghan Markle and Prince Harry in a way no one saw coming. But what lies behind this revelation? And why does it matter so much that it has caused a rupture between Meghan, Harry, and the rest of the royal family? It's not just about a name, but about the power dynamics at play within the royal family and the very public unraveling of long-held family secrets. In this video, we'll dive deep into the shocking details of Kate's post, the implications of the name Sophia Taylor, and how the Sussexes' carefully constructed life of privacy and autonomy has been violently disturbed by this unexpected and deeply personal betrayal. The shocking revelation. Kate's decision to post the real name of Lilibet Diana on social media wasn't just an innocuous share or a harmless family tidbit. It was a carefully timed reveal, one that carried with it layers of meaning, symbolism, and deep-rooted emotions. As the world watched, the post gained traction, quickly making headlines around the globe. This wasn't just a story about a name. It was a story about trust, family, and power dynamics within the British monarchy. For Harry and Meghan, this name was supposed to be a symbol of their new life away from the royal spotlight. But now, with Kate's revelation, everything they thought they had secured in private has been ripped away. What does this mean for the future of their relationship with the royal family? And more importantly, what does it say about the nature of their bond with William and Kate? As viewers, we are drawn into the drama not just by the secrecy surrounding Lilibet's name, but by the sheer audacity of Kate's actions. How did we get here? What led to this deeply personal revelation being made public? Was it an act of betrayal, or simply a matter of royal family business that the public had a right to know? This is the crux of the mystery that we must unpack together. The weight of a name, what Sophia Taylor means. Names have always carried weight, especially royal names. They aren't just identifiers. They are beacons, symbols of legacy, and instruments of power. When a child is born into a family with centuries of tradition, every name holds meaning. The choice of a name is never arbitrary, it's a statement. And in the case of Lilibet Diana, the name Sophia Taylor now takes on an entirely different dimension. Why was this name kept hidden? What does it suggest about the truth behind Lilibet's lineage? Is this a simple clerical oversight, or is there something more sinister at play? To understand why this revelation matters, we must explore the implications of Sophia Taylor. The name, which has never been publicly connected to Lilibet Diana, is now at the center of a swirling controversy. Could this be a signal from Kate, or perhaps an effort to expose a truth that had been carefully concealed? The name Sophia Taylor carries with it the shadow of secrecy, one that seems to challenge the very fabric of Harry and Meghan's story about Lilibet's birth. If this is indeed the real name, why did the Sussexes allow the public to believe otherwise? Was this deliberate? And if so, why was it done? These questions demand answers, and as we dissect the royal family's history, the complex relationship between Kate, William, Harry, and Meghan becomes even more tangled. Was there a deeper agenda at play, or was this simply a moment of accidental exposure? Regardless of the intent behind Kate's post, one thing is certain: the royal family, once known for its unwavering composure and public control, has now opened itself up to a new level of vulnerability. Meghan and Harry's reaction. The betrayal unfolds. For Meghan and Harry, this public reveal has struck a personal chord. Their entire public narrative has been based on their desire for privacy, control, and independence from the royal family. They fought tooth and nail for their autonomy, moving to California and attempting to live life on their own terms. In doing so, they deliberately kept certain aspects of their lives, especially their children's lives, out of the public eye. Lilibet, after all, was born outside the strict scrutiny of the palace, in an environment that was supposed to offer some semblance of freedom. Now, however, the lines between private and public have blurred, and Kate's action seems to cut right to the heart of Meghan and Harry's desire for privacy. Not only have their children become the subject of royal gossip and media frenzy, but now the very identity of their daughter has been exposed, taking away the control they once had. Meghan, in particular, has always emphasized the importance of protecting her children from the spotlight, shielding them from a world that has been both unforgiving and invasive. With this new revelation, it feels as if that boundary has been breached in the most personal way imaginable. Prince Harry, too, is left reeling by the news. For him, the monarchy represents more than just duty, it is family. And this breach goes beyond a mere media scandal. It is a rupture in the trust between him and his family. In the wake of their royal exit, Harry and Meghan have already been through countless public battles with the palace. But this is something entirely different. It is not just a royal protocol issue. It is a betrayal of personal trust between the Sussexes and the rest of the family. The damage to Harry and Meghan's relationship with William and Kate may be irrevocable. This was not just a matter of royal duty or public appearances, it was an attack on their very private lives. And so, as the public watches with bated breath, we are left to wonder, how will the Sussexes respond? Will they fight back, exposing more of the royal family's secrets in retaliation? Or will they take a step back, quietly navigating the waters of royal life with less visibility? This revelation not only puts a strain on their relationship with the royal family, but it may also force them to reconsider their place within the monarchy and their role in the public eye. Kate's motivation. What drives her? But why did Kate decide to post Lilibet's real name? Was it an intentional act of rebellion, a way of asserting power within the royal family? Or was it a moment of desperation? To understand Kate's motivation, we need to look at the pressures she faces in her own life. As the Princess of Wales, Kate's role is more significant than ever. Her duty is not only to support her husband, Prince William, but to ensure the monarchy's survival. She has become the image of modern royalty, the future queen consort who will eventually inherit the throne beside her husband. For Kate, the pressure to maintain a perfect image in the public eye is immense. Her every move is scrutinized, her every word analyzed, and her decisions are never made in a vacuum. She has already had to navigate the complex dynamics between her own family and the royal family. But what if this decision was a reaction to the growing tension she feels with Meghan and Harry, or perhaps a response to the increasing calls for transparency within the monarchy? Regardless of her true motivation, one thing is clear: Kate's revelation has sparked a firestorm. It has brought the public back into the royal family's private affairs in ways that many would have preferred to remain hidden. What started as a simple post has now escalated into a full-blown royal drama. The question that remains is whether the damage to Meghan and Harry's relationship with the royal family can ever be repaired. The broader impact: what does this mean for the royal family's future? In the end, this incident has far-reaching consequences, not just for Meghan and Harry, but for the entire royal family. If the younger generation of royals, led by William and Catherine, is to secure the future of the monarchy, they must reckon with the shifting dynamics within the family. The idea of family loyalty, once central to the royal ethos, has been challenged by Meghan and Harry's departure, and now it has been further complicated by Kate's public post. The monarchy is at a crossroads. How it handles this scandal, the fallout from Kate's revelation, and the future relationship between Harry, Meghan, and the royal family will determine its relevance in the modern age. The public is watching. The monarchy's ability to adapt, to maintain family unity, and to navigate personal conflicts in a public sphere will determine the fate of its future. Kate Middleton's decision to publicly reveal Lilibet Diana's real name, Sophia Taylor, in her social media post sent shockwaves through the royal family and beyond. What was initially a seemingly innocuous action quickly spiraled into a full-blown royal scandal, revealing deep undercurrents of tension within the royal household. The question on everyone's mind was simple yet loaded. Why did Kate make this revelation? And what impact would it have on the fragile relationships within the royal family? In this section, we'll break down the immediate aftermath of Kate's post, exploring its ripple effects on the royal family, public opinion, and, most importantly, the relationship between the Sussexes and the rest of the monarchy. The immediate reaction: shock and confusion. The public's reaction to Kate's revelation was immediate, with social media platforms lighting up and news outlets scrambling to cover the latest twist in the royal family drama. What started as a royal tidbit about a child's name quickly turned into a full-blown debate about privacy, loyalty, and transparency within the monarchy. The fact that Kate, one of the most beloved members of the royal family, was the one to break the news made the situation all the more striking. At first, many believed it was a mistake. The idea that Kate, who had always maintained a poised and measured public persona, would make such a personal and potentially damaging reveal seemed out of character. Could it have been an accidental slip? A post that went too far? However, as the days passed and the royal family remained silent on the matter, it became increasingly clear that this was a deliberate decision. Kate, it seemed, had a specific reason for sharing this information, and it wasn't just about informing the public. It was about sending a message. For Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the shock of seeing Lilibet's real name shared publicly was something they hadn't prepared for. The couple had gone to great lengths to keep their children's lives private, shielded from the intense public scrutiny that came with being royal. To have one of their most personal details revealed by Kate, someone they had once viewed as family, felt like a profound betrayal. Sources close to the Sussexes revealed that Harry and Meghan were blindsided by the post. A family matter, they felt, should have remained within the confines of the royal household. Meghan, in particular, was said to be upset, not only by the breach of privacy but also by the fact that Kate had done this without prior discussion or consent. According to sources close to her, Meghan felt that this was yet another example of the royal family trying to undermine her and Harry, especially after they had taken such bold steps to distance themselves from the monarchy. The media frenzy, a new level of public exposure. As news of Kate's post spread like wildfire, the media quickly latched onto the story, amplifying the drama and offering their own interpretations of what the revelation meant for the royal family. The name Sophia Taylor became the focal point of headlines, but it was the backstory, how and why Kate had shared it, that captured the public's attention. The royal press, which had long been critical of Harry and Meghan's decision to step back from royal duties, immediately seized on the opportunity to deepen the divide between the Sussexes and the rest of the family. Articles and opinion pieces began to surface, suggesting that Kate's post was a response to Meghan's previous claims about royal family dynamics, particularly the ongoing struggles the Sussexes had faced in their relationship with the palace. One of the most intriguing aspects of the media frenzy was the speculation about Kate's motivations. Was she simply sharing information that she thought the public had a right to know? Or was her post an attempt to send a more calculated message to Meghan and Harry, effectively cutting them off from any remaining ties with the royal family? Many commentators suggested that Kate's actions were a strategic move, designed to remind the world that she and William were the future of the monarchy. This was especially relevant after the controversy surrounding Camilla's title removal, which had caused a rift within the family and raised questions about the future role of the older royals. As the media dug deeper into the situation, they began to explore the potential implications of the name Sophia Taylor. Some royal experts pointed out that the name choice was interesting not just because it contradicted what Harry and Meghan had shared about their daughter, but because of its potential historical significance. Sophia was a name that had been used throughout royal circles in the past, including by some distant relatives of Queen Victoria. Taylor, on the other hand, seemed to be a more modern, ordinary name, which some believed could have been an intentional choice by the Sussexes to avoid drawing too much attention to Lilibet's connection to the royal family. As the media conversation raged on, the pressure on the royal family to address the issue became unbearable. But rather than release a statement or clarify the situation, the palace remained silent. This silence, many believed, spoke volumes. It reinforced the idea that the royal family was allowing this drama to unfold in public, letting the media and public opinion dictate the narrative rather than intervening. The silence also suggested that there was no effort to protect Harry and Meghan's privacy, even though they had made it clear time and again that their children's identities should remain private. The royal family's internal struggles, unspoken tensions. In the aftermath of Kate's post, it became increasingly apparent that the royal family was facing internal tensions that had long been bubbling beneath the surface. While the public feud between Harry and the rest of the family had been well documented, the private fractures were less visible. But with Kate's post now out in the open, it was clear that the wounds between Harry, Meghan, and the rest of the royal family were deeper than anyone had imagined. Charles, though initially silent, found himself caught between his son and his wife, Camilla. As king, he was forced to navigate the delicate balance between loyalty to his wife and maintaining his relationship with Harry and Meghan. Camilla, who had long been a divisive figure in the royal family, faced renewed scrutiny after the removal of her queen consort title. Now, with Kate's post making waves, the question of whether the monarchy could remain united seemed more pressing than ever. William, too, was caught in the crossfire. His relationship with Harry had deteriorated over the years, but now, with Kate's actions becoming the focal point of media attention, the rift between the two brothers seemed to widen. William, who had always been the more reserved and traditional of the two, was now under even greater pressure to maintain his image as the future king, especially in the face of mounting public interest in the Sussexes' private lives. The public's reaction to the entire situation also reflected the ongoing struggles within the monarchy. Some sided with Harry and Meghan, condemning Kate's post as a betrayal of family loyalty. Others, however, argued that the Sussexes had brought this upon themselves by leaving the royal family and attempting to live life on their own terms. In the eyes of some, Kate's actions were a way of reminding Harry and Meghan that they were no longer in control of their narrative. The royal family had a way of making its own decisions, and those decisions were not to be questioned by outsiders. The fallout: Harry and Meghan's betrayal and the future of their royal ties. As the media frenzy continued, the fallout from Kate's post left Harry and Meghan with few options. They had always insisted on their privacy, but now it seemed that privacy was slipping further out of their grasp. The name Sophia Taylor had become a symbol of everything they had tried to escape. The public intrusion, the family drama, and the constant battle for control over their own story. What would the future hold for Harry and Meghan now? Would they continue to fight for privacy and independence, or would they be forced to reconcile with the royal family in some form? The coming months would prove pivotal in determining the direction of their relationship with the monarchy and with each other. As news of Kate Middleton's shocking revelation about Lilibet Diana's real name spread like wildfire, the royal family's drama reached new levels. The public had already been given a glimpse of the growing rift between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the rest of the royal family, but this incident, the revelation of Lilibet's true name as Sophia Taylor, was a bombshell that would shift the entire conversation. The couple who had long fought for their privacy, who had carefully curated their public image and shielded their children from the media spotlight, were now faced with an unwelcome intrusion that left them feeling betrayed by none other than Kate Middleton, their supposed ally. The immediate aftermath of Kate's post had all the ingredients of a royal scandal: betrayal, secrecy, and a deeply personal family matter now thrust into the public sphere. Meghan and Harry had always attempted to carve out a life of independence, far away from the constraints of royal life. But this incident, which struck so close to home, forced them to reckon with the ongoing tensions between their new life in the United States and their roots within the British monarchy. The bombshell revelation of Lilibet's true name was more than just a public disclosure. It was a betrayal of their family bond, their privacy, and their hopes of moving past the royal spotlight. The immediate shock: a breach of trust. Meghan and Harry were blindsided by the post. They had taken steps to protect their family from the prying eyes of the media, going so far as to shield their children from public view. Lilibet, the youngest of their two children, was born into a world of intense public scrutiny, and Harry and Meghan had worked tirelessly to create a sanctuary for her away from the media's unrelenting gaze. The idea of their daughter's real name being shared so publicly was more than just an invasion. It was a violation of the trust they had placed in their family members, particularly Kate, who had long been seen as a supportive figure. For Harry, the pain was particularly acute. The revelation wasn't just about a name. It was about the breakdown of family relationships. For years, Harry had been trying to navigate his place within the royal family, balancing the weight of tradition with his desire for a more private, independent life. His decision to step back from royal duties was a direct response to the constant media intrusion and the personal toll it had taken on his family. But now, with this new betrayal, Harry was confronted with the harsh reality that his efforts to protect his family had been undermined by someone he had once trusted. Sources close to the couple revealed that Meghan, too, felt deeply hurt by the incident. Despite her contentious relationship with the royal family, Meghan had always held out hope that there would be some semblance of unity, especially when it came to her children. Lilibet's name was something very personal to them, a symbol of their new life away from the royal spotlight. To have it revealed in such a public and unexpected manner was a blow that Meghan found difficult to process. Friends of Meghan reported that she felt not only betrayed by Kate but also by the royal family as a whole. For Meghan, this incident reinforced her belief that the monarchy was incapable of respecting her family's wishes, a sentiment she had voiced multiple times in interviews and private conversations. A betrayal or a public service? As Meghan and Harry processed their shock, they were forced to confront the question of whether Kate's post was an act of betrayal or whether it was something more complex, an attempt to serve the public's right to know. The post had stirred up a media frenzy, and Kate, as a prominent member of the royal family, was undoubtedly aware of the power of her words. Her actions had ignited a new wave of royal gossip, and the consequences of this public disclosure rippled far beyond the Sussexes. The media quickly latched onto the story, and it became one of the hottest topics in royal reporting. For Meghan and Harry, the decision to keep Lilibet's name private had been a calculated one. Their children were innocent bystanders in the royal drama, and they had worked hard to shield them from the public eye. The decision to make this highly personal information public, without consulting them first, left the couple feeling betrayed and vulnerable. The question they had to grapple with was whether this was an intentional act by Kate, a calculated move to assert her dominance in the royal family, or whether it was simply a case of someone's eagerness to share what was seen as royal news. For Harry, there was also the underlying question of loyalty. Kate had long been a member of the royal family he considered a stabilizing force. She had supported him during difficult times, especially following the passing of Princess Diana. For Harry to feel that Kate, of all people, would take such a personal liberty with his family's privacy was a bitter pill to swallow. He felt that not only had his personal privacy been invaded, but his trust in someone he once considered a close family ally had been shattered. The public's reaction to the name revelation only intensified the Sussexes' sense of betrayal. Meghan, always quick to defend her family, found herself at the center of the media storm once again, this time with Lilibet as the primary subject. The couple had spent years trying to control the narrative around their children's privacy, yet here they were, caught in another scandal, a scandal that had erupted from a simple social media post. It was the kind of drama that Harry and Meghan had fought so hard to avoid. Meghan and Harry's response, a call for accountability. In the aftermath, Meghan and Harry were left with little choice but to respond, not just to the royal family but to the media that had once again brought their private lives into the public domain. In interviews with their closest friends, sources reported that the couple was considering how to approach the situation publicly. The idea of speaking out against Kate or the royal family was not one they took lightly, especially given the complications it would bring to their already tense relationship with the monarchy. However, the sense of betrayal and frustration left them with little option but to weigh the potential consequences of silence. Meghan, in particular, was vocal about the need for transparency and accountability. In private conversations, she emphasized that the royal family had to be held accountable for their actions, particularly when it came to respecting their children's privacy. She felt that the family had long been dismissive of her wishes, and now, with Kate's post, it felt like a line had been crossed that could not be undone. For Harry, the emotional toll of this betrayal was compounded by the deeper psychological effects of the ongoing royal drama. He had long struggled with the intense pressure of being a member of the royal family, and his decision to step away had been an attempt to find peace and distance from the toxic media culture that had hounded his family for years. Now, he was once again thrust into the spotlight, dealing with a situation that he had hoped to avoid. The constant back and forth with the royal family, the media's insatiable appetite for royal gossip, and the public's expectations had left him exhausted. The question remained, would this betrayal be the catalyst for Harry and Meghan to take a stronger stand against the monarchy? The royal family's retaliation, what happens next? As the days following Kate's post unfolded, it became clear that the Sussexes were not going to sit idly by while their privacy was breached. The royal family's response was, as expected, slow and deliberate. No official statements were made, but whispers from inside the palace hinted that the family was deeply divided over the matter. Some members, particularly Prince William, were said to be concerned about the public fallout. Others, including Camilla, were more focused on maintaining the status quo, hoping that the situation would blow over without further consequence. Yet the damage had been done. Meghan and Harry's relationship with the royal family had been tested once again, and the cracks in their ties with William, Kate, and Charles seemed more apparent than ever. The media frenzy surrounding Lilibet's name had once again turned the royal spotlight on them, forcing them to confront their ongoing struggles with the monarchy in a very public way. The royal family, for all its centuries of tradition, was now facing a new challenge in the form of the Sussexes' outspoken advocacy for privacy, independence, and change. Kate's post, though seemingly innocuous, had become the tipping point. a stark reminder that the old order of the royal family was no longer equipped to deal with the modern realities of royal life. As Meghan and Harry moved forward, the question remained: how would they navigate their relationship with the royal family moving forward? Would they continue to speak out, demanding more transparency and respect, or would they retreat even further from the public eye? The royal family's response, and Meghan and Harry's next steps, would shape the future of the monarchy for years to come. The revelation of Lilibet Diana's real name as Sophia Taylor caused an immediate media firestorm. The news quickly dominated headlines worldwide, sparking intense public debate about the actions of Kate Middleton and the growing divide between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. What started as a seemingly innocuous social media post by Kate had quickly escalated into one of the most explosive royal scandals in recent memory. The media's insatiable appetite for royal gossip turned this private family matter into a full-blown circus, with pundits and royal experts weighing in from every angle. The media frenzy, headlines, and hypotheses. From the moment Kate's post went live, the media reaction was swift and all-encompassing. News outlets in the UK and around the world scrambled to cover the story, with every detail being picked apart and analyzed. The name Sophia Taylor became the focal point of every royal discussion. Initially, the public had no idea why the name had been kept secret for so long, and questions about its significance quickly became the subject of much speculation. The UK tabloid press, notorious for their coverage of royal family drama, were among the first to make the connection between the name revelation and the Sussexes' strained relationship with the rest of the royal family. The name Sophia raised eyebrows for several reasons. For one, it was seen as an elegant, traditional name that had been used in royal circles before, while Taylor seemed like a more common surname, which struck some as odd given Lilibet's royal lineage. Many journalists were quick to suggest that the name revealed something deeper, perhaps a rift within the family that went beyond just Lilibet's naming. The media began to speculate that the Sussexes had been hiding Lilibet's real name to maintain some semblance of privacy and to protect the image of their new life in the United States. The idea that Kate had deliberately exposed this private detail added fuel to the fire. Public reactions to the revelation were a mix of disbelief, anger, and curiosity. Commentators on social media platforms began to weigh in, offering their interpretations of Kate's actions. Some defended her, suggesting that she was simply sharing an innocuous piece of family information, while others believed that her actions were a deliberate power play aimed at weakening the Sussexes' position within the royal family. It didn't take long before rumors began to swirl that the entire episode was part of a larger media strategy orchestrated within the palace. Some royal experts posited that Kate's post was part of an internal power struggle, a way to cement her position within the royal hierarchy as the future queen consort, while undermining Harry and Meghan's credibility. As the weeks passed, the media began to scrutinize Kate's every move, wondering if this was just the beginning of a larger feud between the younger royals and the Sussexes. The press's role in escalating tensions. The media didn't just report the facts, it created a narrative. And that narrative, in turn, fueled the public's perception of the situation. With every headline, the tension between the royal family and the Sussexes intensified. Pundits began speculating whether this would be the final nail in the coffin for Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family. The media, especially the tabloid press, has long played a pivotal role in royal life, often shaping public opinion and dictating the course of royal affairs. This was evident once again as the coverage surrounding Kate's post evolved into a battleground between two factions. Those who sided with the royal family and those who sympathized with Harry and Meghan's desire for privacy and independence. In the midst of it all, Kate's post had become a symbol of everything that was wrong with the monarchy, an outdated institution, out of touch with the modern world, and incapable of respecting personal boundaries. The press conference. William and Kate speak out. As the controversy surrounding Kate's post continued to unfold, the royal family found themselves under increasing pressure to address the situation. After several days of silence, William and Kate finally spoke out about the matter during a press conference. The world eagerly awaited their comments, hoping to understand what had motivated Kate's decision to reveal Lilibet's real name. During the conference, William was measured in his response, reiterating his commitment to the royal family and to his future role as king. Kate, on the other hand, was more emotional, expressing her regret for the distress caused by the post. She explained that the revelation of Lilibet's real name was not intended to harm anyone, but rather to share a personal moment with the public. However, her words were not enough to quell the storm that had already been set in motion. Royal watchers were quick to analyze the couple's body language during the press conference. Some noted that Kate appeared visibly uncomfortable, her eyes darting nervously as she spoke. William, too, seemed tense, his face betraying the stress of the situation. While they attempted to present a united front, it was clear that the fallout from Kate's post had caused a rift within the family that would be difficult to repair. The media frenzy around the press conference only escalated after the event. Journalists continued to speculate about the true nature of Kate's post. Was it an innocent mistake, or was it a calculated move to assert her power within the royal family? And if it was the latter, what did that mean for Harry and Meghan's future relationship with the monarchy? The questions kept coming, and the royal family seemed powerless to stop the tide of speculation that had been set in motion. The Sussexes respond, a call for privacy and respect. In the wake of the media storm, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were forced to address the situation publicly. Although they had made a concerted effort to distance themselves from the royal family, the latest revelation about Lilibet's real name left them with no choice but to respond. The couple issued a statement through their spokesperson, expressing their disappointment with the breach of privacy. They emphasized that Lilibet's real name was a personal matter and that the decision to keep it private had been made to protect their family from public scrutiny. The statement also included a call for the royal family to respect their privacy and the boundaries they had set for their children's safety and well-being. Meghan, in particular, was outspoken about the impact that the media frenzy had on her family. She spoke passionately about the toll that the constant scrutiny had taken on their lives, especially as parents trying to shield their children from the public eye. In a separate interview, she shared her frustrations with how the media had continuously invaded their private lives, using their children as pawns in a royal chess game. Prince Harry, for his part, was quieter in his response. While he agreed with Meghan's sentiments, he took a more measured approach, focusing on the importance of maintaining family unity and emphasizing the need for respect within the royal family. However, behind closed doors, it was clear that Harry was deeply hurt by the ongoing public attacks on his family. He felt that the royal family, particularly Kate, had crossed a line by exposing something so personal to the world. The future of the Sussexes' relationship with the royal family. As the dust settled, the bigger question remained: what would happen next for Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family? The name revelation and the subsequent media frenzy had created irreparable damage between the two factions, but the question remained whether this would be the final straw for the Sussexes. Would Harry and Meghan continue their fight for privacy, or would they be forced to make peace with the monarchy once again? The public's sympathy for the Sussexes had waned in recent years, and their ongoing conflict with the royal family had become more of a spectacle than a meaningful movement. Still, there was a sense that Harry and Meghan could not and would not go back to a life of royal servitude. Their public statements suggested that they were ready to continue building a life outside the palace walls, but the personal toll of these public battles could eventually lead them to reconsider their future options. The royal family, for its part, seemed uncertain about how to proceed. William and Kate had tried to mend the rift, but the long-term fallout of their actions, especially in the context of Kate's post, remained uncertain. The future of the monarchy itself seemed to hinge on how this royal scandal played out. Would the rift between the younger royals and the Sussexes be healed, or would it deepen into an insurmountable divide? Only time would tell, but for now, the damage had been done. In any royal scandal, the media plays an indispensable role. From the moment a story breaks to the hours, days, and weeks that follow, the media becomes the megaphone through which public opinion is shaped. The reaction to Kate's revelation about Lilibet Diana's real name was no different. It didn't take long for news outlets, both in the UK and abroad, to pounce on the information and spin it in every conceivable direction. The question on everyone's mind was whether Kate's decision to share Lilibet's name was a calculated move, and if so, what role the media played in both amplifying and manipulating the fallout. The role of the press in the lives of the royal family is nothing new. For decades, the British monarchy has been scrutinized, dissected, and critiqued by the media. However, in recent years, as social media platforms have exploded in popularity, the media landscape has evolved significantly. In a world where a viral post can make or break a story in minutes, royal scandals have become fodder for the masses, and the Sussex's family drama is no exception. The amplification of the family drama. Headlines that sparked global attention. When Kate Middleton posted Lilibet's real name, it didn't just stir the British media, it reverberated around the globe. The power of social media allowed the revelation to spread rapidly, with millions of people reading, reacting, and speculating within hours. News outlets across the UK, US, and beyond took immediate notice of the post, with sensational headlines leading the charge. The revelation that Lilibet's name was Sophia Taylor became the focal point of an international media frenzy. Articles began popping up questioning why Kate would reveal such a personal detail and whether there were ulterior motives behind it. Speculation ran wild, with sources close to the palace leaking opinions that ranged from defending Kate's decision to outright blaming her for the chaos that followed. The media focused on the emotional reactions from Harry and Meghan, particularly how the couple, already dealing with immense public scrutiny, might interpret the news. While some outlets took a neutral stance, reporting the event as a royal tidbit that had been inadvertently exposed, others were more dramatic. Kate's bombshell. Lilibet's real name exposed in shocking post, read one headline, while another declared, a royal scandal, the truth behind Lilibet's name, and what it means for Meghan and Harry. The spectacle of the event, and the story surrounding it, was presented in stark, emotional terms that painted Kate's actions as more than a casual reveal. The media narrative shifted between portraying Kate as an innocent, well-meaning royal trying to connect with the public to suggesting that the post was a calculated move to take a jab at Harry and Meghan. Some journalists speculated that Kate's move was a deliberate attempt to undermine the Sussexes and to signal her dominance as the future queen consort. Was Kate's post a power play? One commentator asked. Or was it simply a matter of royal duty and transparency? The drama surrounding Lilibet's name had officially become fodder for media pundits, and with that came a deepening of the public divide between those who supported the Sussexes and those who sided with the royal family. The media was quick to take sides, reflecting and amplifying the existing rifts within the family. The battle for control. Who owns the narrative? One of the most significant aspects of this scandal is the battle for control over the narrative. In a world where information spreads rapidly, maintaining control over one's own story has become increasingly difficult. The royal family, which has long operated in a controlled, managed environment, found itself in a situation where the personal lives of its members were being exposed and sensationalized without their consent. For Harry and Meghan, the lack of control over their own narrative has been a recurring frustration. The couple's departure from the royal family was, in part, motivated by their desire to regain control over their lives and privacy. Yet with each new scandal, the Sussexes found themselves at the mercy of the media. Lilibet's real name was not just a personal detail, it was a piece of their life exposed to the world. And with it came the loss of control they had worked so hard to gain. On the other hand, Kate and William, as working royals, were expected to maintain a certain level of public visibility. As the future king and queen consort, they had a duty to uphold the dignity and image of the monarchy, which often meant playing a role in shaping the public's perception. Kate's decision to share Lilibet's name, whether intentional or not, was a way to assert control over the narrative in the absence of an official statement from the royal family. While her post may have appeared harmless to some, it was, in fact, an act that carried significant implications. In many ways, Kate's post was the royal equivalent of a power move in the media world, an attempt to stake a claim in a narrative that had, until then, been largely controlled by Harry and Meghan. The public's reaction to the post became the stage for a larger, more profound struggle for power within the royal family, a battle that was fought not with words or deeds, but with carefully crafted media moments that allowed each party to manipulate public perception. The role of the tabloids, feeding the frenzy. Nowhere was the impact of the media's involvement more evident than in the tabloids. British tabloids, which have long been known for their salacious coverage of royal affairs, were quick to amplify the scandal surrounding Lilibet's name. Kate strikes back. The royal family fights back against Harry and Meghan's false narrative, ran one headline, while another tabloid declared, the truth about Lilibet's name, what Harry and Meghan don't want you to know. The tabloids seized on every detail of the story, stretching it into a full-blown media circus. With every new development, new rumors were born. Was this an act of revenge on Kate's part? Was she acting out of frustration with the Sussexes' public statements? Was the name reveal an indication that the royal family was becoming more determined than ever to protect their image at the expense of Harry and Meghan? While much of the tabloid reporting was sensationalized, it reflected the growing divide between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. The media began to frame the conflict as not just a personal dispute, but a battle for the future of the monarchy. In this context, every word, every image, and every statement from the royal family became ammunition in the war for public opinion. Harry and Meghan's growing frustration, the fight for privacy. As the media frenzy continued, Harry and Meghan found themselves once again battling against the press. This time, the issue was deeply personal. It wasn't just about the royal family's perception of them, but about the violation of their privacy and their control over their own narrative. The revelation of Lilibet's real name wasn't just a matter of family drama. It was the latest in a long line of personal intrusions that had led the Sussexes to take drastic steps to protect their family from the press. In interviews and public statements, Harry and Meghan made it clear that they did not want their children's identities to be part of the public spectacle. The constant media attention was not only damaging to their personal lives, but also dangerous. They had already seen how the media's obsession with their family had led to tragic consequences in the past, and the Sussexes were unwilling to let that happen again. Their frustration with the media was palpable. Meghan, in particular, had spoken about the toll that the press had taken on her mental health, and this latest scandal was a reminder of why they had left the royal family in the first place. They had hoped to live a more private life, one where their children could grow up without the constant scrutiny of the press. Instead, they found themselves thrust into the spotlight once again, with their family's most intimate details exposed for the world to see. The Sussexes' response to the media frenzy surrounding Lilibet's real name was not just about defending their privacy. It was about pushing back against the media's power and influence over their lives. They had already taken steps to live life on their own terms, and this latest revelation was another reminder that the media, and by extension, the royal family, was not willing to let them go. The aftermath of Kate's explosive social media post, revealing Lilibet Diana's true name as Sophia Taylor, sent ripples through the royal family. The immediate reaction from the public was one of shock, but the most important question was how the royal family would handle this unexpected and deeply personal revelation. Would they support Kate's actions? Or would the family choose to remain silent and let the media frenzy die down? The dynamics within the palace were shifting, and the fallout from this royal drama would forever change the relationships between Harry, Meghan, and the rest of the royal family. The silence from Buckingham Palace. In the days immediately following Kate's post, the palace's silence was deafening. The royal family, known for its tight-lipped approach to scandals, refused to make an official comment on the situation. Prince Charles, Kate's father-in-law, remained silent, as did Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. Prince William, who was directly involved in the royal family's current operations as second in line to the throne, kept his thoughts to himself as well. The only action taken was the occasional statement of support for the monarchy's future and the importance of remaining united in public. However, this silence only fueled the speculation, leading many to believe that the royal family was deliberately staying quiet to avoid further escalating the drama. Royal observers noted that the lack of a swift, decisive statement from Buckingham Palace spoke volumes. Was the silence a sign of internal disarray, or was it a calculated effort to maintain composure while the matter cooled off? After all, in royal circles, no statement was often the loudest statement of all. There was also the question of what the rest of the royal family truly thought about Kate's post. Did they support her decision to expose Lilibet's real name, or did they disapprove of her actions? While the lack of official commentary left room for speculation, many close to the palace pointed to subtle signals that indicated a deeper, unspoken divide within the family. Some royal insiders suggested that the silence indicated a fracture between the younger and older generations of royals. The growing tension between William and Harry, coupled with the rivalry between Kate and Meghan, was well known, but this was a rare glimpse into the fracture lines that were forming. The name revelation was no longer just a family matter. It had become a public spectacle that would test the very core of royal unity. Harry and Meghan's strained relationship with William and Kate. While the royal family as a whole remained silent, the tension between Harry, Meghan, and William and Kate was becoming impossible to ignore. The Sussexes, having already distanced themselves from royal duties, were now forced into an even more complicated position. What began as a rift between two brothers, exacerbated by the Sussexes' departure from royal duties, had now extended to their wives, and this post only deepened the divide. For Harry, the betrayal was personal. His relationship with his brother William had already been under immense strain due to their differing approaches to royal life, and this latest incident brought everything to a head. Harry had already felt sidelined by the royal family, and Meghan's strained relationship with Kate only added fuel to the fire. Kate, once seen as a sister-in-law figure, was now the one publicly exposing one of the most personal details of their life as a family. Harry and Meghan had worked tirelessly to protect Lilibet's privacy, and yet Kate, the very person they had once turned to for support, had crossed a line. William, for his part, had been grappling with his role as the future king. The increasing tensions between him and Harry had put a strain on his ability to effectively lead the royal family, and now, with Kate's post, William found himself at the center of the controversy. While William did not immediately comment on the situation, royal watchers noticed a shift in his body language and public demeanor. Was he supporting his wife's actions, or was he distancing himself from her in light of the growing tensions with Harry and Meghan? Camilla, too, was implicated in this royal drama. While she didn't publicly comment on Kate's post, insiders suggested that she may have played a role in advising William and Kate about how to handle the situation. As the wife of the heir apparent, Camilla's influence on the family dynamic was undeniable. Her relationship with Harry and Meghan had always been complicated, and this latest scandal only added another layer of complexity to the royal family's internal struggles. The failure to address the situation directly left the public wondering whether the royal family was, in fact, divided. Was this a case of a family turning against one another, or was this simply the latest chapter in the ongoing saga of royal tensions? The palace response: is there a strategy behind the silence? As the days passed and the media continued to scrutinize every angle of the situation, the lack of response from Buckingham Palace became a subject of increasing interest. Was the silence a deliberate strategy, or was it a sign of dysfunction within the palace? The royal family has always been known for its ability to control public narratives, often issuing statements and holding press briefings to maintain its image. However, in this case, the silence seemed almost deafening, leading many to question whether there were larger forces at play. Some royal experts suggested that the palace was simply taking a more cautious approach, allowing the situation to play out naturally without escalating it further. In the past, the monarchy has weathered similar storms, and the palace may have believed that with time, the media frenzy would die down. However, others felt that this silence was indicative of deeper, more profound problems within the royal family. Could it be that the royal family was struggling to keep a united front as the internal rifts grew wider? Or was there more to the story than met the eye? The delay in issuing a statement gave the media the perfect opportunity to fill the void with speculation. Was the palace divided over how to handle the situation? Were there differing opinions on how best to support William and Kate? Or had the tension between Harry and Meghan become so toxic that no one could agree on the best course of action? The longer the royal family remained silent, the louder the speculation became. Public perception: the growing divide between royals and the Sussexes. The public's perception of the situation was just as fractured as the royal family's internal dynamics. For many, Kate's post was seen as a breach of trust, a violation of Harry and Meghan's privacy that should never have been exposed. These individuals sided with the Sussexes, voicing their frustrations over the way the royal family had handled the situation. They felt that Kate, as a member of the royal family, had no right to share such personal information without Harry and Meghan's consent. For these royal supporters, the post was a reflection of the monarchy's outdated, privileged mindset, one that was more concerned with maintaining control over its image than respecting the boundaries of its members. On the other hand, there were those who saw Kate's actions as a necessary step toward transparency and accountability within the royal family. Some argued that the public had a right to know the truth about the royal family's internal dynamics, especially when it came to matters as personal as the names of royal children. These individuals felt that Harry and Meghan had placed themselves outside of the royal family's norms and should not be surprised when the monarchy responded in kind. The divide in public opinion only served to deepen the rift between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family. Harry and Meghan's supporters rallied behind them, while others believed that the couple's decision to leave the royal family and live a life of independence made them fair game for scrutiny. This situation highlighted the ongoing struggles between tradition and modernity within the royal family, and the increasing difficulty the monarchy faced in maintaining its unity in an age of social media and public transparency. Conclusion: the long-term impact of Kate's post. As the days turned into weeks, the question remained: what would be the long-term impact of Kate's post on the royal family and its future? The growing divide between Harry and William seemed more pronounced than ever, and the royal family's response, or lack thereof, left many wondering whether this was the final straw in their relationship. The public's perception of the monarchy had been forever changed by the events surrounding Lilibet's real name, and the future of the royal family and its relationship with Harry and Meghan remained uncertain. The fallout from Kate's post would continue to ripple through the royal family for years to come. The silence from Buckingham Palace had only fueled the flames of speculation, and the damage to the relationship between Harry and Meghan and the rest of the family seemed irreparable. What would the future hold for the monarchy, and how would this scandal shape its evolution? Only time would tell, but for now, the public and the media were watching closely, eager for the next chapter in this royal drama. The tension didn't begin with royal protocol or political controversy. It began with a drink shared in London, long before royal titles, scandalous interviews, or explosive headlines. Meghan Markle, then best known for her role on the TV show Suits, had agreed to meet with Piers Morgan after a cordial exchange over social media. To Piers, this was a sign of mutual interest, perhaps admiration, perhaps the foundation of a friendship with a rising star. To Meghan, it was likely no more than a casual encounter, part of a whirlwind trip through London's social and professional scene. They met at a pub, talked television, activism, travel. Piers has since often recounted the meeting with the kind of detail that suggests he believed a connection had been made. After their drink, Meghan left, reportedly to attend a dinner party. The next time he saw her, she was on the arm of Prince Harry, and he never heard from her again. It was that perceived ghosting, swift, sudden, and total, that sparked something deeper than criticism in Piers Morgan. It sparked resentment. When the news broke that Meghan was dating Prince Harry, most commentators reacted with curiosity, admiration, even celebration. A biracial American actress in the royal family? The story had the makings of a modern fairy tale. But for Piers Morgan, it was the beginning of a vendetta. At first, the criticism was subtle, wrapped in commentary about Meghan's Hollywood background or questions about her motives. But as time passed, his take sharpened. His editorials, broadcasts, and social media posts became relentless in tone. He questioned her sincerity during charitable visits. He poked holes in her interviews. He accused her of controlling Harry and painting herself as a victim while exploiting her royal position. The real turning point came after Meghan and Harry's interview with Oprah Winfrey in 2021. In that interview, Meghan opened up about the emotional strain of royal life, disclosing that at one point she didn't want to be alive anymore. She spoke of being denied help by palace officials and hinted at conversations regarding the skin color of her unborn child. It was a bombshell, and it sent shockwaves through the monarchy and media alike. The next morning, on ITV's Good Morning Britain, Piers Morgan delivered his now infamous reaction. He dismissed Meghan's mental health claims with a simple sentence: "I don't believe a word she says." The backlash was immediate. Mental health charities condemned the remark. Co-host Alex Beresford confronted him live on air. And within 24 hours, Piers stormed off set and resigned from the show he had helped shape for years. To some, he had crossed a line. To others, he had merely spoken the truth. Regardless, the damage was done. His critique of Meghan was no longer just media analysis. It had become personal warfare. Over the months that followed, Piers Morgan doubled down. He penned op-eds. He returned to television with Piers Morgan Uncensored, a show that quickly featured segments dedicated to the Sussexes. He called Meghan a narcissist, a manipulator, a threat to royal tradition. He mocked her Netflix deals, her podcast ambitions, her lifestyle brand aspirations. And Harry? Piers labeled him weak. He said Harry was a puppet, that he had turned his back on duty, honor, and his family. Each headline added more kindling to the fire. Each tweet, each broadcast clip, each monologue fanned the flames. But what many failed to see or chose to ignore was the emotional toll this feud was having on Meghan herself. Behind closed doors in Montecito, Meghan was reportedly breaking down. Friends spoke of late-night calls, panic attacks, and growing paranoia. She began believing there were coordinated campaigns to destroy her. Harry believed it too. He began connecting dots. Anonymous sources quoted in tabloids. Leaks that seemed too convenient. Stories that felt planted. And the one name that came up again and again, either spoken openly or whispered quietly, was Piers Morgan. It wasn't just what Piers was saying on air that bothered Harry. It was what he believed was happening off air. He became convinced that Morgan wasn't acting alone, that there were phone calls happening late at night, that Piers was in direct contact with individuals inside. Meghan and Harry were blindsided by the post. They had taken steps to protect their family from the prying eyes of the media, going so far as to shield their children from public view. Lilibet, the youngest of their two children, was born into a world of intense public scrutiny, and Harry and Meghan had worked tirelessly to create a sanctuary for her away from the media's unrelenting gaze. The idea of their daughter's real name being shared so publicly was more than just an invasion. It was a violation of the trust they had placed in their family members, particularly Kate, who had long been seen as a supportive figure. For Harry, the pain was particularly acute. The revelation wasn't just about a name. It was about the breakdown of family relationships. For years, Harry had been trying to navigate his place within the royal family, balancing the weight of tradition with his desire for a more private, independent life. His decision to step back from royal duties was a direct response to the constant media intrusion and the personal toll it had taken on his family. But now, with this new betrayal, Harry was confronted with the harsh reality that his efforts to protect his family had been undermined by someone he had once trusted. Sources close to the couple revealed that Meghan, too, felt deeply hurt by the incident. Despite her contentious relationship with the royal family, Meghan had always held out hope that there would be some semblance of unity, especially when it came to her children. Lilibet's name was something very personal to them, a symbol of their new life away from the royal spotlight. To have it revealed in such a public and unexpected manner was a blow that Meghan found difficult to process. Friends of Meghan reported that she felt not only betrayed by Kate but also by the royal family as a whole. For Meghan, this incident reinforced her belief that the monarchy was incapable of respecting her family's wishes, a sentiment she had voiced multiple times in interviews and private conversations. A betrayal or a public service? As Meghan and Harry processed their shock, they were forced to confront the question of whether Kate's post was an act of betrayal or whether it was something more complex, an attempt to serve the public's right to know. The post had stirred up a media frenzy, and Kate, as a prominent member of the royal family, was undoubtedly aware of the power of her words. Her actions had ignited a new wave of royal gossip, and the consequences of this public disclosure rippled far beyond the Sussexes. The media quickly latched onto the story, and it became one of the hottest topics in royal reporting. For Meghan and Harry, the decision to keep Lilibet's name private had been a calculated one. Their children were innocent bystanders in the royal drama, and they had worked hard to shield them from the public eye. The decision to make this highly personal information public, without consulting them first, left the couple feeling betrayed and vulnerable. The question they had to grapple with was whether this was an intentional act by Kate, a calculated move to assert her dominance in the royal family, or whether it was simply a case of someone's eagerness to share what was seen as royal news. For Harry, there was also the underlying question of loyalty. Kate had long been a member of the royal family he considered a stabilizing force. She had supported him during difficult times, especially following the passing of Princess Diana. For Harry to feel that Kate, of all people, would take such a personal liberty with his family's privacy was a bitter pill to swallow. He felt that not only had his personal privacy been invaded, but his trust in someone he once considered a close family ally had been shattered. The public's reaction to the name revelation only intensified the Sussexes' sense of betrayal. Meghan, always quick to defend her family, found herself at the center of the media storm once again, this time with Lilibet as the primary subject. The couple had spent years trying to control the narrative around their children's privacy, yet here they were, caught in another scandal, a scandal that had erupted from a simple social media post. It was the kind of drama that Harry and Meghan had fought so hard to avoid. Meghan and Harry's response, a call for accountability. In the aftermath, Meghan and Harry were left with little choice but to respond, not just to the royal family but to the media that had once again brought their private lives into the public domain. In interviews with their closest friends, sources reported that the couple was considering how to approach the situation publicly. The idea of speaking out against Kate or the royal family was not one they took lightly, especially given the complications it would bring to their already tense relationship with the monarchy. However, the sense of betrayal and frustration left them with little option but to weigh the potential consequences of silence. Meghan, in particular, was vocal about the need for transparency and accountability. In private conversations, she emphasized that the royal family had to be held accountable for their actions, particularly when it came to respecting their children's privacy. She felt that the family had long been dismissive of her wishes, and now, with Kate's post, it felt like a line had been crossed that could not be undone. For Harry, the emotional toll of this betrayal was compounded by the deeper psychological effects of the ongoing royal drama. He had long struggled with the intense pressure of being a member of the royal family, and his decision to step away had been an attempt to find peace and distance from the toxic media culture that had hounded his family for years. Now, he was once again thrust into the spotlight, dealing with a situation that he had hoped to avoid. The constant back and forth with the royal family, the media's insatiable appetite for royal gossip, and the public's expectations had left him exhausted. The question remained, would this betrayal be the catalyst for Harry and Meghan to take a stronger stand against the monarchy? The royal family's retaliation, what happens next? As the days following Kate's post unfolded, it became clear that the Sussexes were not going to sit idly by while their privacy was breached. The royal family's response was, as expected, slow and deliberate. No official statements were made,